Hello and welcome to Astronomy from the Shed, aka Sutherland Skies. So yeah, I have a bit of a test tonight. It's the first time I've used this video broadcasting recording software for a long time, so I'm just trying to remember my way around about it all again. And it's a bit of a clear night tonight, so just really practicing with the telescope and all the software again and bits and pieces and see how it goes. And yeah, just really a bit of a test night really, and just see what we can do, see if we can capture any images at all, and just get ready for the winter season really. So I have got Nina running. In fact, we'll just put that up there now. And as you can see, we're on the East Veil Nebula now, doing 3-minute exposures. I've got a sequence set up now for LRGB filters. We're starting the luminance now, and yeah, we'll see how it goes. The guidance not great. I've just done a calibration and it wasn't fantastic. But we'll see how it goes. We'll see when the first exposure comes in what it looks like. I say it's nothing too serious tonight. I'm just really practicing with everything again and just make sure the equipment's running okay. I've done an autofocus which wasn't too bad, it wasn't perfect, but the stars do seem nice and round. That's not too bad for the first one. Yeah, the stars look quite reasonable, I think. Quite like to check them in the corners, make sure they're not elongated or yeah, not too bad. Yeah, certainly seen the nebula. Quite wispy. So yeah, we'll see how that goes for a while. As I say, I've set up a sequence of 10 images per filter for 3 minutes per sub, so we've got about 2 hours worth of imaging to do. We'll see if we can manage that, if the skies actually stay that clear, and if the guiding can keep up as well. I really need to tweak some settings in PhD too. I've really just not done anything with that at all, apart from just everything's default and see how it goes. I've had to reinstall all the software for all my astro programs on this laptop. It's a new laptop to me, but it's a second-hand laptop because my last laptop just completely crashed and I couldn't fix it. So I managed to get the second-hand one, and I've had to just put every program on it, PhD 2, Nina, etc, and all the drivers for everything. So I'm really just setting it all off, set it all up the best I can remember how I had it all before. But as I say, with PhD 2, the guidance software, I've just left everything default now, so we'll see how it goes. The guidance not very good, it's sitting about 2.0 now. It is in arc seconds, yep. But considering the stars are looking quite round, so I'm not overly fussed tonight. Say if we can get a reasonable picture out of this, I'll be more than happy. And yeah, see how it goes. I've done a polar alignment earlier, which came up pretty good. I wasn't far out of alignment, so it didn't take much tweaking to get it pretty much bang on. I say I've done an autofocus, and I think maybe the belt on the autofocuser is maybe slightly loose. It seems to be giving a lot of backlash where it doesn't usually do. So it's maybe just needing adjusted slightly. I say there's nothing really been used since April, the end of April this year. So yeah, everything's just been packed away for, say, May, June, July, August, September, yeah, good, best part of 5 months. So I'm just quite glad that everything connected okay to start with, and most things are running reasonably well. I don't know why it's doing a dither after only 2 frames. It's set to dither every 6th frames, I'm pretty sure. Let me just check this. Dither every 6 frames, or on the 6th frame, so why is it dithering after 2? I don't know. Strange. Very strange. Image history. Light. What was that? 3 seconds, 180, 439. HFR 4.39, 4.41. The skies are reasonable, they're not brilliant, and there's a slight breeze picking up as well, which wasn't forecast for. It was supposed to be quite a still night, and no moon as well, so I was thinking, yes, no moon, no wind, no cloud. Now the forecast changed to partially cloudy a wee bit later on, and a slight wind picking up, so less than ideal now. I can actually hear the wind. So it's probably that's thrown the guiding off as well. Hey ho, can't do much about the weather. And I'm recording all this on OBS, which I've not got much experience with at all. Again, I've very hastily just set it all up just before the session started. So hopefully it's all going well. And it's recording okay. We'll soon find out when I finish all this how the recordings went. Now the laptop I'm using doesn't have a lot of RAM or anything, it's quite an old thing, so we'll see how well it actually records everything and keeps it all in sync and whatnot. It seems okay then now, but I've had trouble before with the last laptop that it seemed okay, and then when I went to replay things, video was stuttering and the sound was terrible and nothing was in sync, and it was horrendous. And I think it was actually starting to affect the camera for the guide scope as well, because I've got the main camera running, the guide scope camera, the webcam, and I think it was just too much for the poor laptop. So stick this just back to Nina so I can see what I'm doing. Can't see the webcam when I'm on this screen as well, so I'm just hoping that everything's pretty much centered and whatnot. I say it's really just a test anyway. And it's this next image coming through. Yep, done a little dither there. The stars are looking reasonable considering the guidance pretty shonky. Satellite trail as well, there's a bit of satellite in every image. I've been just the single pictures I was taking earlier, bits of the sky, just zooming about the sky looking for things to take. Every single thing had a satellite going through it. Generally I'm not too bad with satellites as well. I think it just depends what part of the sky you're imaging in. Don't know really much about satellites, and they're sort of on their paths over the sky. I just really hope that the algorithms and the stacking software will take them out okay. Which at the moment I'm using Sutherland because it's free. What I did have before was AstroPixel processor. I had the 1 month trial, which was brilliant. I loved the program, so I think when I can afford it I'll buy the full version of that. I just think it's just so easy, and it worked really well. glancing to the side there, I've got a big TV screen with Stellarium, the planetarium software, and PhD2 running on that, and on my laptop in front of me I have Nina running. So I can only show you Nina on this because I don't know yet how to go about switching between other screens when I'm using a separate screen. I used to do it before, okay, when everything was just on the one laptop screen. So things to learn. So at the moment the guidance is coming down to 1.41, it was at 2.0, so it's up and down a little bit. But yeah, I think that sort of wee breeze back and forward certainly affecting things. I do have quite a big dew shield, well, the Celestron dew shield on the scope as well, so it turns out to be quite a big length of tube, so it doesn't have to catch the wind. But yeah, you can only do what you can do. So the equipment I'm using anyway, for those that don't know, it's a Celestron CPC 800, which is just a C8 tube on a fork mount, an alt-az mount, but I've got it on a HD Pro wedge to turn it into a sort of equatorial mount, and that's all sitting on my homemade concrete pillar in the back garden, which is on a concrete pad, because I'm in the process of building a little observatory just round about the telescope, just a mini observatory, just enough to actually cover the scope and everything else. So I'm currently building that now, but I say all the concrete pads down, the piers all completely finished, so it's rock solid, which helps for stability and sort of light winds as well. I mean, it's well over engineered for the weight that's on it, which is good, because in future I wouldn't mind sort of getting a slightly bigger scope. Maybe the 9¼ inch would be just fantastic, but we'll see. So the camera I'm using is a ZWO ASI 294mm Pro monochrome camera with a 31mm LRGB filters, Bader LRGB filters. Don't have any narrowband filters yet, that's something to come as well. I'd love to get some narrowband filters to really complement the images. So at the moment I can just do them in sort of true colour if you like, which is fine. And yeah, they're all in a ZWO 8 position filter wheel. And I have the focus automated with a Pegasus Astro Focus Cube Zero, which is supposed to have zero backlash, which generally is pretty good. I've got very little backlash, but as I say, it's a rubber sort of belt drive that goes on the focuser, and it seems to be slightly loose, so I just should really retension that, and that would take up any, if there is any slight backlash on it. But considering the focus was still, I think it came up 0.95 rather than it's usually like 0.99 or 1.0, which is the best it can be, so it's not far away. And I did check it earlier with a Bahtinov mask and it was coming up absolutely perfect. And anyway, the stars are looking quite nice and round in, so quite happy so far. Yeah, the guidance going up and down quite a lot. Well, up and down a little bit. I'm using a Celestron off-axis guider as well. Could be doing with a better guide camera. I would really love the ZWO-174 Mini. Nice big sensor and quite sensitive. At the moment I've got an Altair Astro GP Cam 130. It's my original guide camera. I think I've had it for maybe, in fact it will be easily 5 years now. I used to have it on my wee Altair Astro guide scope that I used to have piggybacked on top, but I've since moved to the off-axis guider, and the guidance has been so much better. I used to have terrible guiding, it was up and down. Some nights were quite good, other nights were just all over the place. I don't know if I was getting flexure or something, it just seemed up and down all the time. But since moving to the off-axis guider, it's been been quite solid. The guidance been actually quite poor all night long, generally down to seeing conditions and weather and wind, or it's been really good all night long, but it's stopped the jumping between bad and reasonable and good and bad and reasonable and good all in the same night. It's either good or it's not good. So I'm quite happy with that. It's been working really well, but yeah, I think a better guide camera would pick up a lot more stars. It would help with the multi-star guiding as well, which could only help because the VGB Cam 130 has got quite a small sensor. It was fine with the guide scope, but it's struggling. In areas like this, when there's, like, as you can see in the screen, there's so many stars, it can pick up stars no bother. But during galaxy season, really had a real struggle with it at the end of last year. Just very few stars round about some galaxies, and yeah, I was lucky sometimes just to get one star with it, and enough to just, excuse me, do a bit of imaging. Oh, I don't know how long I can even stay up tonight. I had such a late night last night, just for one thing and another. I hardly had any sleep at all, and I was intending doing an all-nighter tonight because the forecast was for clear skies all night and all morning until daybreak, but it has changed, so I may have to cut this short tonight. Can just keep going until the clouds come over or the wind picks up too much. So I'll see how long I can keep awake anyway. I'm absolutely shattered. Let's see, I was up all night last night. May as well say, it doesn't really matter, but one of our cats died this morning and I was up all night just keeping it company. It was on its last legs all during the night last night and just wanted to be with it. And but it died peacefully in its sleep this morning, about 8:30 this morning. So very sad, but it was an old cat, his time had come. And we've got another 4 cats, so it's been a bit of a sad start to the weekend, but we knew it was coming. His health had deteriorated in the last little while, and it was for the best for him. So yeah, it was a bit of a sleepless night last night, just staying up with Towser. Hey ho. Anyway, back to this. Yes, another exposure done. What are we on now? We're on 6, so we're halfway through the luminance data, and so far it's looking quite good for what I can see. I've got quite a bright light on in this shed. In fact, yeah, I've not even really said much about the observing what I'm doing. I say the telescope's in the back garden, say on its concrete pier, a concrete pad, little pad round about it. I think it's about 2 metres in diameter, if I remember right. And I say I'm building my own observatory, if you like, round about it. It's a hexagonal shape. It's all going to be built out of timber. I've not really decided on what the roof will be like yet. It will be some sort of either roll off or, I don't know, dome type construction. I don't really know yet. I'm saying just get the walls built first, and in time, hopefully maybe halfway through this winter, the scope can then be left outside full time during winter, completely covered for the elements, and that'd be absolutely fantastic for setting up time, and also for packing up time as well. It could just be a case of park the scope, switch the power off, pull the roof over, walk away and come in the house and leave it. So its scope now is sitting probably about 10 feet from the shed that I'm sitting in, which is a wee lean-to shed attached to the house, looking over the back garden. Just a little potting shed, but I've sort of converted a tiny little corner with just to put a wee table in and try and sort of, I don't know what's the word, sort of insulate it a little bit for the cold nights. So yeah, I've got a little corner with the potting shed just for my astrophotography, which is ideal. window here that I can actually see the scope of now, but I've got a blind down, so although it's quite a bright white light in here, there's absolutely nothing to see outside. It's completely black, so no light pollution at all from where I am, and I'm certainly not making any here. I've got quite a nice thick blind here. So yeah, plan is to do up this wee shed as well, in my wee corner anyway, make it just a bit more homely for spending hour after hour on these winter nights sitting in the shed in the garden. And get the observatory built first though, get the scope protected. So at the moment I'm still setting it up on the pier and taking it all back down when I finish and sticking it in the house. It's another exposure coming too. Absolutely identical to the last one, no movement whatsoever. So yeah, that's the plans for winter. That would be great, it would just save so much time. Just try to plan it so it's all automated as much as possible. Be great just to say, come out, pull the roof off, press a couple of switches, get the power started, and then I can just come into the shed and plug the laptop in. I'll have the screen up on the wall. I've got, see, it's quite a big flat screen TV, but it's quite an old thing, so it's just an XS TV that I actually got it for free because it's quite sort of old technology. Well, it works fine, an old Toshiba flat screen, so I'll get that fixed to the wall in my wee corner here. Just get all the cables run, so it's really just a case of coming in with the laptop, plugging it in, plug the scope in the outside, and away we go. I've got ducting from the shed to the concrete pad. All the ducting has been put in place for the USB cables and the power cable. In fact, the power cable's already there now. I've got power running to the pad, to the pier now, and waterproof junction boxes and whatnot. So we're getting there. It will just save so much time. It would be great to just start imaging in a few minutes, and the same for packing up. When you're finishing at 3, 4, 5 in the morning, just really want to switch everything off and go away to bed, and not have to dismantle the whole scope and cables and bits and pieces and make multiple trips in and out of the house early doors. So that's the plan, and it's something to do as well. Something to do at nights and weekends when I'm not working. Keep busy, bit of woodwork. Not that many joiner by any means, but nah, never mind. Where I live as well, I'm saying for anyone who doesn't know me, nobody's going to know me that watches this probably generally. I live in the top northwest corner of Scotland, up in Sutherland, Northwest Highlands. Very remote, quite a mountainous area. No civilization for lots and lots of miles around. Hardly any neighbours, no light pollution, no street lamps. The little hamlet, it's not even a village, we'll call it a hamlet. There must be full-time members of staff, at a rough guess. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, maybe 10 people live in this little hamlet. So we don't really have any streets as such. So if you look on the light pollution map, I can't remember what it's called now. Anyway, whatever light pollution map that I look at, where I actually stay, my postcode is Abortal 1, which is fantastic. So yeah, great for no light pollution, but unfortunately to get that, to live in such a remote place, I say it is quite mountainous, it does attract the clouds and there are a lot of rain. So although we get dark skies, they're quite few and far between. We get so much rain here, it's unbelievable, and then so much cloud and so much wind. Trying to get just good weather conditions is so rare, even in the heart of winter. It's just another reason for the observatory, just so I can get as much of the best weather as I can, because it is quite rare, and most of it tends to be on work nights as well, where I can't actually stay out silly late because I have to get up early for work the next day. So I'm just trying to maximise the amount of exposure time I can get. So that's the plan. So yes, don't be too jealous of bottle 1. It's a bit of a sacrifice to get those clear skies, but when the weather does play ball, it's absolutely fantastic. It's just so dark. And even tonight, there's no moon up at all. I don't even know what phase the moon is, I can't remember, but it's well below the horizon all night. So yeah, it's just, as soon as you step out of the house, it's absolutely, you need a torch. You could just walk right into something in front of you. It's just so dark. But I suppose I'm used to that, been living here for so long. You go back to a city and it's just orange sodium lights everywhere and white LEDs now. It's just so much light pollution. But yeah, quite spoilt being in such a lovely dark place. I'm staring intently at the screen here. I'm just looking at these stars just to see how round they are, and it looks pretty good. I'm getting some nice detail. Glancing at yeah, the guidance, it's staying roughly between 1.4 and 1.7. 1.7 now, so it's going up and down a little bit, but we'll take that now. I'm not going to mess about too much with settings tonight. I'll leave that for another day. I'm just happy to actually be getting some images in, to be honest. More than I thought. I was expecting, better not say it was going to happen, I was expecting loads and loads of issues tonight, just with new laptop, every single program and driver installed on it and never tested properly, and the equipment all out for the first time since April, never really been tested, so things are going not too bad. And I've never really done much in the way of recording all my sessions either. In fact, this is probably the longest I've recorded anything. So if it turns out okay, I was going to say I'll maybe edit it a bit, but I might just put the whole thing out as is on my YouTube channel, Sutherland Skies. Yes, there's really nothing of interest on it now. I've really just started the channel, and I hope to get more proper sort of live videos going. And yeah, it'd be good to maybe do some live YouTube streaming as well, rather than just see how this laptop performs first, and see what the internet connection's like here. I think it's quite reasonable, but sometimes it can drop out a little bit, and it might affect the live streaming. But you can only try. See how it goes one day, and maybe just do a live stream right from the start. It's just when the observatory's built, and just switch everything on, and I can show the polar alignment and the autofocus, and really just what I do and what my sequences to get things started. I don't do any star alignments anymore with this setup. When I'm using plate solving, there's absolutely no need. I used to spend ages before doing 3-point alignments, then Celestron's all-star polar alignment, and it would take ages trying to go around the sky into different quadrants, and there's absolutely no need to do any of that now. I just set the scope up on the index marks before I start. CPWI, just click OK all the way through it when you're doing an alignment. Yep, just don't do any star alignments. And Stellarium and Nina then know exactly where the scope's pointing, and when you go to an object, just do a slew in centre and use plate solving with Nina, and it goes to it and it centres it straight away. It's like, wow, the time I used to spend with doing alignments, it's just not needed anymore. It's just fabulous, so much quicker just to start imaging, and so accurate as well. Now that I've sort of learnt quite a bit about Nina, it's just such a fabulous program, it really is. And I've only ever used the simple sequencer, the legacy sequencer as it's called now. It's more than adequate for my needs. I've not even tried, but I've watched many tutorials using the other sequencer, and it looks fabulous for the things you can do with it, but there's no point in me overcomplicating things. The old sequencer works just fine for what I need. Next image about to come through. Let's see what this one looks like. Oh, we're about to do an autofocus. Well, that's all the luminance done. We're going on to red now. Filter's changed to red. Well, be interesting to record this, see how it does. The badder filters say that they are, oh, what's the word now? Parafocal. And whenever I've done autofocus between filters, it has moved it slightly, but not much, to be honest. Very little in the sort of the step changes between the filters. I think blue was maybe quite a reasonable distance away for the rest, but honestly I'd have probably, in maybe some conditions, just got away with not doing an autofocus between filters. But for all the time it takes, and I'm still really learning autofocus as well, it's quite a new focuser, so it's quite interesting just to see how it works and just see how accurate the focus is. And I suppose with temperature changes as well, it was quite good to change the focus, so I'm quite happy just doing it on filter changes. I generally probably on each filter maybe wouldn't go more than an hour anyway between changing filters, so I'm going to be doing an autofocus every hour probably at the most anyway. At the moment I'm going to be doing one every half an hour because I'm doing 10 times 3 minute exposures, so I'm not overly fussed about any great temperature change now. It's going to focus every half an hour anyway. So what we were on before, I can't remember, it was like 5014 I think was the position, so we'll see where the red ends up. There you go, 0.99, quite good. Position 4998, yeah, there's nothing in it, absolutely nothing. What was that, 16 points, which is absolutely nothing. But hey ho, that'll give quite a good result there. 0.99. Good to just test these things anyway, make sure everything's working okay. And since it's there, the autofocus has been just so great. Before I was in and out, focus, back in the shed, check the laptop, batting off, mask on, back out, turn it one way, come back, realise I've turned it the wrong way, go back out. I was back and forward so many times just to try and get focus, whereas now I don't even have to do anything, it just does it all itself. It's been working really good. So we should be, oh, we're exposing already, yes. PhD is settled, has it settled? I can't even speak, has settled. We're guiding again. So we'll see what difference the red filter makes to the guiding as well. Should it really matter? I'm just trying to think. No, because the off-axis guider is before the filters. So no, it will make no difference whatsoever. If I'm seeing that right. Shouldn't matter. In fact, the only thing that will be different then is the focus position, because it just obviously moves the focus position then for the guide camera as well, as it is exactly the same distance from the main camera. It's always interesting to see the first exposure of a new filter coming up, just to see if it's what the colour's like. So I'd love to get a hydrogen alpha filter and just pick out so much more detail in nebula. And fine for galaxies, LRGB's really all you need for galaxies, but for nebula it'd be great to do some narrowband. But the price of these filters is just ridiculous now. It's a lot of money for a little bit of glass. Just need to try and keep saving the pennies. So yeah, it's when it's all quiet outside. If this turns out okay, I'm going to head off for a few minutes and get myself a cup of tea, but I'm just going to leave all this recording. I might edit it down before I put it on my channel if it all turns out okay. We'll see. Either that, you can just keep watching, you know, imaging away. Guiding 1.55. I put it down at the mount as well. There's a lot of backlash in that Altas mount. I've tried to adjust it the best I can. In fact, I've adjusted it before, which took a lot of the backlash out, and I've adjusted it as much as I can so it doesn't sort of stick. That's really nice. But yeah, it's not the most high precision mount for astrophotography. I think that would be my next big purchase actually. If I can get some money together, I'd love to just buy an equatorial mount and do away with the wedge and the Altas. But it's performing now, and it's what I've used for the last 5 years. It's taken a bit of maintenance, a few breakdowns, a few things wrong with it that I've always managed to fix and repair, and I've re-greased the whole thing. Took out all that horrible black gungy grease that was in it, and got some new grease. In fact, I'll show you what it is. Got some synthetic super lube. Don't know if well you can see that. Really nice thin grease, and it made a big difference actually, just cleaning out all the grease in the mount. But it'd never been touched for say a good few years, and I readjusted the. I think it was just the. Can't remember which one I adjusted. I think the deck was okay, but anyway, re-greased everything, done a few adjustments here and there, and so it's working a lot better than it used to. My guiding used to be absolutely terrible with the mount, and the backlash was horrendous with it, but I've got it more consistently good than bad now. But yeah, a better quality just equatorial mount I think would help me out a lot. Biggest problem I've got with that Altas mount is the geometry of the mount as well. I can't look at any object above about 20 degrees going from northwest through north to northeast. Starts to get better obviously northwest, northeast, but anywhere in between there, anything above about 20-25 degrees, just with the geometry of the wedge with the fork mount, the scope will just not be able, just can't go any higher than that, or the camera would hit off the bottom of this telescope mount. So I'm a bit limited to what skies I can see. Luckily I've got a good view from northeast all the way around east to south, down to southwest, round to southwest. Great view of the skies there, and I can go practically vertical up to 90 degrees if the telescope is facing south. So I've got a great range of motion in the mount and the southern skies, which is absolutely fine. But even for tonight I couldn't look at Andromeda because it was too far, it was too high in the northern sky. So unfortunately the mount just won't look that high, and 25 degrees is about the roof line of the house, which I would never, well, I can't image lower than that anyway because I would be looking at the house, and I really wouldn't want to anyway. You really want to be looking at objects as high in the sky as possible. So an equatorial mount would certainly sort that issue out. It would give me the full range of motion around the whole sky, which would be ideal. Would have to do a meridian flip, which is don't have to do with a fog mount, which is fabulous, but it would let me look at the whole sky. I'm missing out on a lot of things at various times of the year just because I can't look at northern targets high in the sky. So I've really got to pick things when they sort of come round, certainly getting close to east I can go quite high in the sky, and then as the targets are coming further around to the south, then yeah, I can go even higher. And I've got, yeah, as I say, pretty much up to 90 degrees looking south. The camera just clears the base of the mount. So yeah, geometry. It's the only downside. I think well, it's quite poor guiding as well. But yeah, I'm rambling on now. Rambling on and staring intently at the screen. I'm just amazed with the amount of stars in this image. For 180 seconds, it's looking really nice. A little slight glow to the side there. I don't think it's amp glow. I know this camera can be quite bad for amp glow, but usually you see big spikes coming in for the side, and I'm just not getting that tonight. Generally, if I maybe go for 5-minute exposures, I can start to see amp glow, but if you keep the exposures relatively short, I don't know what that is there. It's a slight glow to the side. It doesn't look bad. Then I'm not really that bothered with amp glow at all. I know a lot of people seem to complain about the 294 amp glow, but it's never been an issue. And when you do calibration of frames, it takes it all out anyway, so it's really a non-issue, to be honest. It's been a great camera. I've really liked it. I'm using bin 2 as well. Just it's a good. It works well with the scope that I've got, and it saves the memory as well. Just using bin 1. The image files are huge, and not much difference there. Look the same. This laptop probably would struggle with the large file sizes, so I quite like bin 2. And I've got it cooled to -10, excuse me, -10 degrees Celsius, which to do that it's using 29% of the cooler power. It's not particularly cold outside, 6.8 degrees Celsius outside, which is quite amazing, not bad. I mean, it is only halfway through September. When you're out imaging in February, it can easily be down to -10 Celsius, so doesn't use much cooler power for that, but takes a bit more electricity for heating the shed up. But yeah, absolutely fabulous, this little potting shed in the garden. I've got a little oil filled radiator sitting beside me, just keeping the chill off. It's just nice. Right. Oh, excuse me. I'm so tired. I've had, like, I don't know, so little sleep since Thursday night, and it's now Saturday night. But I'm going to go and get a cup of tea, and I will be back. I'll just leave all this recording. Back in a few minutes. back again. That took a little while. What's been going on? All good, all good. I'm getting halfway through the red data. Good. Still looking alright. It was looking like the sky was getting a wee bit hazy when I was out. I had a wee look as well after I got made the tea. Almost like slightly foggy looking, but still lots of stars to see. And image after image just looking identical to the last one, which is looks good, apart from when it does a dither. There's obviously a slight movement, but no, the red's looking nice as well. It's the only thing about, well, what was I going to say? The one thing about using LRGB filters, or using a mono camera with filters, is what's happened to the guiding, excuse me. We'll see how this turns out. It said PhD, had an issue there. We'll see if this next exposure is as sharp and pinpoint as the last. So much for everything going okay. The pulse commands to the mount failed for some reason. I've never seen that message before. It says it's still guiding okay, so we'll see. That's not good. This next image could be less than ideal. Wonder why it said that. We'll see what happens. Dear me, just when things were going okay as well. There's always something, isn't there? Always something. Keep an eye on that. So yeah, what was I saying? Yeah, LRGB filters, even just doing half an hour per filter, this is going to be coming up an hour. All it's going to take now is the cloud to roll in, and I'll not be able to do the green or the blue, and then that's me stuck with another whole load of data and not get a finished image. I suppose the one good thing about having a colour camera is, well, every single image you take is all colour, so you can just stack what you have, whereas I'm relying on getting all 4 filters to be able to stack it all to get the full colour image. And as I said here before, where I am in Scotland, it's so rare to get good clear skies all night without cloud rolling in or the wind picking up, and so many times should I say, I've ended up just doing half the filters or 3/4, and I'm on the last filter about to start, and then something happens and I've got to come back to it another night, and then another night I'd end up choosing another target to do, or do something else, and by the time I come back to that target, it's not in an ideal place in the sky, or the moon's up, or there's something, and the amount of data that I've got that I've not finished yet, it's not getting ridiculous, but it can be a tad annoying. Did that last image come through? Image history. That is the last one, yeah. Looks okay. Maybe the pulse guiding failed just for a second there, because it doesn't seem to have affected the image any. I was half expecting to see big, huge elongated stars, and not too bad. Too bad. love all that wispiness in the nebula though, it just looks lovely, doesn't it? Just love all the strands and stuff. Hope that comes out okay in the processing, as long as I can get all the filters. No, nice. I say, it's only a test night. It'd be good to get something. In fact, if I can get an actual proper image of this, I'll be more than happy. This really was, I was trying to stay up for a couple hours, up to midnight maybe, and just test everything out. So I wasn't really expected to actually get a full, I wasn't even really expected to do a sequence. I was just going to be doing sort of single snapshots here and there all over the place, just for something to be doing. But yeah, this isn't looking too bad at all. Yeah. Just having a look at stellarium here now. Well, we've passed the meridian, so we'll be starting to go down in altitude, which is good. Well, it's not good, the higher the better, but by the time I'm finishing this, it's saying this should be finished at where are we? 10 to 12. Let's actually just have a look at, well, we're at 11:15, so an hour's time. It's not going to be that low in the sky for the sake of an hour. Yeah, good. We're nearly finished the red. After this frame, one more to go. It'll do then an autofocus, and we'll be on to the green, and that'll be us halfway through. So, fingers crossed. Meant to say when I was talking about the equipment earlier, I've also got the Celestron 0.63 focal reducer, flattener. So it puts me down to f6.3 focal ratio as well. It gives me a focal length of 1280mm. So brings the f ratio down a little bit, and it gives me a slightly larger field of view, which I quite like actually with this 8-inch scope. Still really need to do mosaics for a lot of things, especially something as large as the East and the Western Veil Nebula. It would take a few sort of mosaic panels to do the full thing. Something to sort of aspire to for the future. It would be something I need to practice, is doing mosaics, even for the Andromeda galaxy. It really takes a 3-panel mosaic with this focal length to get the whole thing in nicely. So it'd be something I'd like to try, just do a bit of practice with as well, and try stacking the panels and whatnot and see how it goes. It's something I've never tried, but yeah, interesting, be good. I think once I get AstroPixel processor, it's supposed to be really good for mosaics, for what I've heard. Yeah, something else to be doing. It's all learning curve, isn't it? Right, pair up with the images. Nearly finished another exposure. See how this one looks. It's going to do a dither now before the last one. I think I made a wee sandwich as well. Pretty hungry. Nothing fancy. Piece on jam for my supper. If the weather conditions do keep up and I manage to get all this sequence done, that'll take me up to 11:45. I think I'll probably just call it a night at that because I am absolutely done. If I'd managed to get a sleep last night is what I was hoping for. I was planning to stay up to all hours of the morning, but last night was a bit of change of plan. Guide stop. Guide did not send settle done message after expected time. What's going on? Warning messages for the guider, who knows? Anyway, just doing autofocus now. Now onto the green filter. Just sit and watch what it's doing here. What was it before? Was it 4998 for the red? Just trying to see what differences in positions there are between the filters. Well, there was only 6 steps between the red and the green there, which is absolutely nothing. And it's given me a 0.98, which again is pretty good, because the scene conditions out there, they're not fantastic. The sky looks almost slightly foggy. It's just there. So considering it's not a crystal clear sky, it's given me quite good autofocus runs actually. Not a bad looking V curve or U curve. Good, happy with that. Let's see how the green performs when we get the first full image in. Yeah, that's us halfway through, an hour to go, and yeah, I could call it a night and I could process this tomorrow. I don't think I've never really done the East or the West Veil Nebula. I've done a few snapshots here and there, but I've never actually spent much time to get a nice colour image of. Well, it'd be good to do the whole Cygnus loop actually, but I say it'd be quite a big mosaic for that, and I'd need so many clear nights. Well, maybe not a lot, but certainly a couple. Do a few panels every night. suppose the good thing about doing these sort of videos live on YouTube, then you can get a bit of chat as well from any viewers back and forward, rather than me just sitting chatting into a screen here, try to think of things to say, or have big long silences, which is fine. But I quite like the sort of social aspect of it as well, as I'm sitting here in a garden shed myself in the middle of the night. Very social. The rest of the cats outside messing about, as long as they keep away from the scope. Yeah, the sky's not looking so good on the guide in there. It's getting a bit up and down. It did look like it was maybe getting a bit cloudy outside. It's good scupper things for a little while. I think the forecast did say that it was going to get partially cloudy around about midnight to about 2 in the morning, and then it was supposed to be clear for 3 right through to, I said through to 7, but it's daylight at 7, so we might struggle to get all the filters done again. Looks like the clouds maybe start to come in a little bit earlier than it was forecast for. We'll keep going. Right, first green image about to come up. It's always exciting. Nice again. Bit of detail. Yeah. Let's zoom in a little bit and have a look at the stars. Too shabby. Reasonably round for the corners for an SCT, and because I'm using the Celestron reducer, it's not reputed to be the best of quality, but to be honest, it's not too bad, especially for the money. I mean, it only cost me £100 brand new. Whereas I think the Star Arizona one, I'll hear a lot of people using for Celestron, and it's like, what, is it £400 or maybe more now? So you're talking that's something's like 4 or 5 times the price. You would expect it to be that much better quality, but to be honest, it's not too bad. Let's have a look at the nebulosity itself. It's such a bright central star, isn't it? I'm really liking that. Oh, that's looking not too bad for a single exposure. Too bad at all. I thought I seen a little galaxy in the distance there. No, it's just a bit of a star. Yeah. Looks nice. Yeah. Oh, it's nice and cosy in the shed. This little radiator does the job, but I say it's not exactly cold outside. 6.5 degrees Celsius now. So yeah, see when it gets to -10 below, and then it's chilly. 30% cooler power to get the sensor down to -10. Not bad. What else am I doing? Gain, I'm using 120 unity gain. I've set the offset to 8, and see how it goes at that. I don't really know an awful lot about the offset, and I've hear so many maybe not conflicting things about offset, but just people with maybe slightly different ideas of how they come to get a number for offset. So I'm not 100% sure about the offset for this camera. I've just tried it quite a low number. I can't remember, there was someone I was watching on YouTube. I can't remember who it was. Seemed to have quite a good way of determining the offset. I can't remember. I'd have to watch the video. I can't even remember how it was. They'd done it using the histogram, and it seemed to make sense. So I really should watch that again and try that myself. I just keep seeing a flashing for PhD beside me, but it's just a star moving about. Still guiding okay. Not many stars for multi-star guiding, but it's hanging on there. It's going up and down a little bit. But honestly, the proof is in the picture. If your sub looks good, I'm not overly bothered about the numbers on PhD, although they seem to be going up and down a little bit now. It was steady for a while there, but I really think it's down to the. Just have a quick look outside. It's definitely just down to the sea, and I can see some stars, but I'll have a wee look outside in a minute. It's looking slightly hazy outside. I think the clouds are on the way in. It's a shame. Hey ho. I'll finish my cup of tea before it gets cold. Yeah, I might have to edit this video down a bit before I put it out. I think anyone wants to just watch me sitting eating a piece on jam, drinking my cup of tea, talking, chatting away. Who knows? It's one thing I need to do as well is get I'll say a good, but just a reasonably good program for editing videos. It doesn't have to be anything overly fancy, just something that's straightforward, easy to use. Can't remember what I was using on the last. See, there we go. Ping of Doom. Star Lost. It's getting cloudy. Oh, I knew it. It's taken over an hour. That's a real shame. The weather just couldn't hold off for another hour. I could finish this sequence. Jeez, let's see what this third frame looks like. We did lose the guide in there for a little bit. Quite good still, not bad. This is a real shame. I don't think I'm going to get any blue data the way this is going. There we go, see? I ended up getting 3 colours and no blue. Oh, well, the first clear night I get after this, I shall just go straight back to this target and get any remaining data that I can't get tonight, and then we'll take it from there. So I would have looks like I don't think I'll be able to show you the finished picture after I was going to process it tomorrow, but it looks like maybe not. It may be in another week's time or so until we get some more clear skies. I think the forecast for rain again next week. Certainly the first half of the week it looks pretty miserable for rain, so we shall see. vehicle outside. A bit late for people driving about. Next door neighbours maybe, don't know. As long as it's naughty for me, then it's all good. Oh, come on. Just constantly looking at the camera on PhD. It's stars, then no stars, then stars, then no stars. It's just up and down. It's hanging on there, but just waiting for the ping of doom again. Can't stand that noise. I've heard it so often. Nice and quiet for a little bit. I should have some nice soothing background music on. I'm not about to. I'm not really starting messed about with volume levels, and I wouldn't know what the levels are like with it. Having to do a bit of trial and error, so we'll not bother with that now. Don't really have any soothing music to play anyway. In fact, I do have the iPad there as well. Get YouTube up on yet another electrical device and play some music over the top of this. I don't even think of myself as being someone that's writing these just new modern electrical devices, as I'm sitting here with a large screen TV with multiple displays on it, and a laptop running, and an iPad in the background. I'm not actually playing anything on it now, and it's like, how does it happen? It just sneaks up on you. The mobile phones in the house, using it as a hotspot to get internet in the shed here, and jeez, I keep thinking to myself it's old school, but really all these modern things just creep up on you, and before you know it you're just surrounded by electrical bits and pieces. Not got much to say. I mean, I've completely electrified my whole setup on the telescope, between cameras and filter wheels and focusers and everything else. The next thing would be, well, not the next thing really should be a new mount. But on my wish list, a new mount, narrowband filters, and what I'd really like, that isn't really a necessity, but it would be really good to have, would be a camera rotator as well. Sorry, PhD keeps catching my eye there. Especially I was thinking for when doing mosaics, it would be great to just get the exact angles of all the panels spot on. And it'd be great for, I think, for taking calibration calibration frames as well. If you're doing multiple targets in one night and you've got to rotate the camera in different ways, you can rotate it exactly back to where you had it for doing flat frames and whatnot. It'd be something that'd be really handy, not exactly 100% necessary now, but it would just be nice to have. But yeah, yet another electronic piece of equipment. it would just another step to automating everything. Not that I ever want to automate things to the extent that I can just sit in the house or sit someplace else in the country and image. I quite like being quite close to the scope. So the fact that it's just, as I say, no more than about 10 feet away from me that I can see out the window here in the garden shed, I'm more than happy with that. In time as well, I think once the observatory is built, I'll get a little, just like a webcam to put inside it so I can keep an eye on the scope inside, and then I can just have that linked up to Nina as well, or just on the laptop. Handy for just for looking for cable snags for when it's slewing to targets. It's all very well looking out the window now, but it's a little bit hard to see at times that it's going in the right direction, and especially I'm thinking for things when I'm starting to get a bit high altitude, I've got to be careful that I don't hit the camera off the base. I could set the slew limits, the altitude limits. In fact, I really should do that so it won't hit the base, but so far I'm just being careful. Oh, it's losing a lot of stars there. The clouds are definitely coming in. Oh no. What did it just do? Another picture there. Exposing 8 seconds. I missed it. It's just coming and going. I think after this cup of tea I'll quickly go outside and have a look at the sky. It's all the way, and yeah, see what it's looking like. So yeah, a little webcam, just keep an eye on the scope inside the observatory when it's moving about and slewing about would be nice to have as well. And I say I would only need to have a look at it when it's actually moving. And especially I've got one USB cable coming off the scope to the ground that then goes through the ducting, through the concrete base, underground, into the shed. And I've got one power cable that goes to the 12 volt transformer. So 2 cables coming off the scope, but they're not bad for snagging and pulling tight, but they can be bad for sort of dragging, if you like, for which seems to affect the guiding quite badly if there's a cable not hanging loose, if it starts to drag, which understandably so. I've just got to go out and sort of slightly adjust the cables a little bit, which is no hardship. It does affect the guiding a bit when you start messing about with the scope when it's halfway through a picture though. Even just touching a cable puts it well off. I think we might be lucky to get the full green sequence done at this rate. What you can't see, what I'm looking at, is a PhD guiding camera, and I can hardly see any stars. It was looking really good at the start as well. The whole screen was just full of stars it could pick up on. Again, I think it would help with a more sensitive camera, especially when the conditions deteriorate slightly. It's maybe going to just pick up more than what I'm using. But this wee GP Cam 130, it's done me well over the years. It was a cheap camera at the time. I think all things considered it's still quite a cheap camera compared to bigger sensor cameras, so it's done okay. It's not really ideally suited for an off-axis guider for a sort of longer focal range scope like what I've got, so it does okay. It does lose stars quite easily if the cloud gets a bit wispy or if there's not a lot of stars, but it's no shame for the camera. I'm really just going to have to spend the money sometime and maybe just get a 174mm mini. It would certainly help the guiding a lot, I think. What's this next image look like? Looks nice as well. Was that a slight shift there? Can't remember the last time it did that actually. It maybe just did and I never noticed it. Sometimes when you just like stare at the same picture of stars, I'm looking at it and looking at it, but I'm not really taking it in. I'm just getting tired. Oh well, it's been a good night so far. It's been nice just to get out in the shed actually, get everything set up, just get ready for a new season. Such a short astro season. We've got such a long summer here with clear skies. If I mean clear skies, I mean like not dark skies, actually like bright skies all through summer. It's like when you get anywhere close to midsummer, the sky just doesn't even get dark at all. It's just dull at most. I suppose where are we? 58 degrees latitude, so we're getting reasonably high here. Just over 58 degrees north, and yeah, it's quite a long summer with no astrophotography. So I do look forward to the winter months coming. Get some dark skies. It's just nice to see the stars again. Three more images to go and we can get onto the blue filter. Even if I could get just a couple of blues, I could just do a quick stack just to see how it looks. I'm so impatient with things. I always like to try and get an image at the end of the night, or the next day anyway, certainly not the end of the night. Get something to show for sitting up all night long. Right, I think it's time to have a wee look outside, see what this sky's actually doing. I'll give it 15 seconds, see what this next image looks like, and then head out for a few minutes. It's always good to just watch every sub coming in, just in case there's any ones that are particularly bad. I can just give it the old thumbs down at the time. Saves me a wee bit of time later when I go to stack everything, if I know that there's any subs that are definitely not going in the stack. Okay, that looks as good as the rest. Right, I'll be back in a couple of minutes. Beat. You coming? Beat. Go on. Sky's not too bad. Little clouds sort of coming in here and there. That's what's causing the guiding to be up and down, as you would imagine. But if so far it looks like it might be able to just hang on for half an hour and get the rest of this sequence done. Would be good. We're on the last green frame now. One of the cats was messing about round about the telescope here as well, which isn't going to help if it keeps knocking the USB cable and ends up scratching up the post, up the pillar and whatnot. Not ideal, but it's cats. What can you do? I have to shut this door properly. Come on, Beat. Come on, then. Come on. Come on. Beat. 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 You coming? Coming in? No. Just try to get one of the cats to come into the shed so he's not messing about around about the scope. But no, not for having it. Too nice to be outside. Anyway, back to this. Finish this exposure, do an autofocus. We're on 5004. Let's see what the difference. I think blue's quite far out if I remember right, but the rest, the luminance, the red and the green, have all been really close. Position wise, let's see how the blue goes. Getting quite chilly feeling outside. It's saying it's still 6.8 degrees, but it feels a lot colder. It's just with the humidity, just that dampness in the air. It's like 100% humidity, which is just the norm for up here. It's just, yeah, that wet cold just makes it feel really freezing, and it's nearly 7 degrees. As soon as you open that door of the shed, it just lets the heat right out. Anyway, all going well, half an hour to go, and I could probably pack up for the night and get myself off to bed. But I see Jupiter's coming up as well, though. I was like, should after this maybe just try and get a little spy on Jupiter as well. Maybe go to SharpCap for that, and I've got no experience in planets whatsoever. Something I'd really like to try and get some images of Jupiter and Saturn, but I don't have a planetary camera for one, so I'd have to use the deep sky camera, which probably I would say is less than ideal because it's not got much of a fast frame rate. It's more designed for long exposures, but it'd be good to even just get a glimpse and see if I could even just get a snapshot. Certainly don't have the equipment, and certainly don't have the knowledge so far to be sort of taking proper images of planets and I think it's video file or video to do it, and then run it through certain different programs like fire capture, and I can't even remember now, I'd need to download them. I can't even remember what you use for that. Anyway, it'd be good to even just get a snapshot, just try and get a glimpse of Jupiter maybe, since it's starting to come up in the sky. See, it's not looking like such a great V curve, but 0.99 it's saying. It was that last. It's still saying quite good. So what about anyway? So 5014, 10 points. 10 is absolutely nothing, but it's good to just keep the autofocus working. And we're guiding, PhD settling, starting guiding. And there we go, exposing. Well, we'll see what the blue filter looks like with this target. See, if I can get half an hour's worth of blue, it would be great to get this stacked. I've never done any of the Veil Nebula. So to get 2 hours on it, it's a good start. I'm sure it's quite a good target, say, for hydrogen alpha. I've seen so many people do the Veil, and the images are just stunning. But yeah, I think narrowband would be good for that as well. Pick out a lot of detail. It's not showing a lot of stars. Come on. Why is it not showing a lot of stars? It wasn't that cloudy when I was out. There you go, you get an hour and a half, it all goes well. In the last half hour it's just nope. Yeah, I'm spending half the time messing about with PhD, starting guiding, pick a star, start looping, not in that order because that's just wrong. Well. Shall see. Good just to get the first image and see what it looks like anyway. So far auto guiding all been working well. Auto guiding, what am I talking about, John? Autofocus has been working well. It's been generally, I think, a 0.99. The last one was 0.99. 0.98 for green. 0.99 for red. 0.95 for luminous, which is strange. Luminous is generally the best one of all, but I don't know why it's given this. That's like a backlash. I wonder if when I go back to luminance and do it again, if that will go. Maybe that's just the initial time I've done it, because if the belt was slightly loose, it'll be interesting when I go back to do it. So yeah, it's been right up there as being nearly perfect, apart from the luminance, which again 0.95. Not bothered with that, it was still good. And there we go, the first blue. Let's have a zoom in a little bit. So, you know, I'm quite happy with the stars at the corners. It's not looking too bad at all. The stars in this, see these ones here start to get a bit elongated. I'm quite well zoomed in there. You can can start to see they're slightly egg-shaped in this left-hand bottom corner. The right-hand side seems slightly better. See, the right-hand side of the image seems a bit rounder stars. Anyway, back to the centre. Getting some lovely detail there. Hope all this comes out really nice. Yeah, not bad. All in all, not too bad. Just checking the stars from the corners to the centre. Yeah. And that was quite well zoomed in. On this image, because it's such a large nebula, large target, I'll be cropping it as little as I can get away with. I think that will just be the sort of stacking artifacts around the edges that will crop out, so it's not going to be sort of zoomed in like what I would maybe do with planetary nebulas and things where they're really small. I'd want to try and zoom it in a little bit. So the final image is going to look as that sort of scale, if you like. No, I'm really interested to see what this bottom bit it's looking lovely, and see what this next one looks like. Let's do a dither. So many stars as well, really nice. Sometimes I've had a lot of problems with the dither as well. It just keeps coming up with an error, just going over the settle time, and some nights seem worse than others. Tonight it's been working pretty much flawlessly. It seems to dither okay, it seems to get back on target within the pixel tolerance, and other nights are with exactly the same settings. It keeps throwing up error messages. Don't understand it too much. Well, why it works some nights and not others. Anyway, guidance going a bit up 2.01. As long as it doesn't go much higher than that, we'll be okay. It's just sky conditions more than anything. What can you do? It's going up a bit high there though, 2.28, that's about the highest it's been all night. That's not so good. Come on, come down. The guidance been acceptable all night. I can really do. Just hope these clouds stay away. Must be quite high clouds, because the sky looks quite good from when you look at it just with the unaided eye for the ground, it looks quite starry, but when you're actually looking, what you can see through the guide camera, you can start to see it sort of clouding over, so there must be sort of quite sort of high altitude clouds. Just need the guiding numbers to come down a little bit. This could end up giving me slightly bloated stars. I can usually get away with like up to like 2, but I don't like to go much above that. And obviously under 1 would be just perfect. Not bad. Come on, PhD. Look at the scope just in case there's a cable starting to drag on it. It is turned on the mount a fair bit from when I started, I suppose. It's possible that maybe the power cable is maybe starting to hit off the mount. Sometimes you don't really like messing about with things when it's reasonably okay. Especially when you've not got a lot of subs to go, it's like just hang on there. Check this next sub out and zoom in a little bit, see what it's looking like. 10 seconds to go. If it looks okay, I will just leave the scope as is. I don't want to start messing about with cables. But it does look like these stars are starting to get a little bit egg-shaped. Let's have a look. Bottom right, not too bad. Centre, see, it's been the worst filter. They're starting to get a little bit eggy shaped. Top right, not too bad, quite round. Just see these, there's a satellite coming through. Not starting any of the other ones. Starting to see like a little bit of elongation on the left side. didn't want to start going down the road of thinking, oh, it's camera tilt or anything silly, when it could just be down to seeing conditions and the fact that the guidance less than ideal when it's sitting at over 2 arc seconds. It's pretty dismal. Maybe if I was starting to get egg-shaped starts and elongations, if my guidance was like 0.50, then I'd be thinking there's some mechanical problem here. So we'll maybe try this again when the sky clears and see if these stars go back to more round again. Not overly bothered. It's not like it's going to be submitted for an APOD or nothing. Damn. Yeah, it's just cloud. Come on. Pick a star. It's just cloud. So yeah. Just want to see the nebulosity again. Just looks lovely, just the way it's almost like looks like it's pleated in the bottom there. I'm getting quite excited to see how this is going to turn out. See, it's a target I've never spent any time on before, so good to give it a go. Yeah. Right, we're halfway through the blue. Just hang on there, 15 minutes to go. And I think if the sky keeps clear, I'll take a wee slew over to Jupiter, see if I can get a wee single image of that just to finish the night off, and then get packed up and away to bed, I think. Get some sleep. It's just nice though, very nice. Sitting in the shed, watching laptop screens. Don't know if there's anything that I've really missed out about equipment and whatnot and what I've been doing. Just for anyone new to the channel that's maybe not seen me do anything before, I've really not done much before, I suppose. So I've certainly not done any. I've done some live broadcasts, but they've just really been tests because I've been just practicing how to do a live broadcast with YouTube and OBS. So I've not really put anything out there that's been of any value or any good really. So yeah, I look forward to try some live broadcasting and to see if I can get any viewers and get some chat back, and so spend a bit of time just a bit of banter with people. Be interesting. Get a bit of feedback as well. Always handy. It's not so handy though. Star Lost. See how this exposure turns out. looks okay. So far I don't think I've had any that have been completely unusable, considering the guidance been a little bit up and down towards the end here. I think I'll probably end up just using them just to see where it goes. Before I stack them, I'll go through every exposure just in case there is any that is not usable, but so far they're all just, I would say, on the side of being acceptable, or good enough just to get a stacked image together. There's just hardly any stars to see on PhD at all. I could always return the exposure time up slightly. I've got it sitting at 2 seconds. Should I really mess about with that this late in the game though? Probably not. It's done quite well at 2 seconds all night. Usually I have it either 2 seconds or 2.5 seconds. 2.5 generally works quite well for me. But we're nearly there. So yeah, it'll be interesting to run this this OBS video back. Maybe do that tomorrow as well, see how it turned out. I don't even know what the sound levels are going to be like. I've just left everything really default on it, and yeah, see how it goes. I'm sure there'll be room for improvement for the next time. Another sub about to finish. Looked identical to the last one. Roughly 10 minutes to go, and that'll be us. Oh well. Good to get something in the bag for a couple hours sitting outside. Well, sitting inside, but you know what I mean. Excuse me. This is the temperature's coming up now, 7.5 degrees. I suppose when I first, within the first hour of being out, the skies were really nice and clear, so yeah, it was getting quite frosty cold feeling. And then there was a bit of cloud cover coming over. It's bringing the temperature up. 7.8 degrees. It's came up a full degree in the last half an hour. Usually you'd expect it to get colder during the night, not warmer. It's not a good sign. Oh, excuse me again. I'm going to have to edit this video right down now. Just sit here yawning on video. Oh. Right, John. Get back out in the cold. That'll soon wake him up. HFR history, half flux radius history, image history. I think all the images have been, the HFR has been quite close. 456, 488, 481, 480, 554, that's quite a bad one. 482, 502, 424, 404. They've all been 4 point something, back for that one, about 5 when they keep a look out. 502. The lower the number the better. So they're all been reasonably consistent. Within the sort of ballpark each other. It's when you suddenly see one that's like 8 point something, you're like, oh, what happened there? Another satellite, very nice. And of course, just in time to do another dither with a couple of frames to go. It does seem to make a good difference with the walk-in noise to dither it. I've not really had any issues with that type of noise when I'm doing a dither. It does what it's supposed to do, I suppose. It's worth that extra few seconds every so many frames to do the dither. I think I've got mine set to do it on every 6th frame. Oh well. Nearly there. Dear me, I'm starting to feel like I'm getting a bit choked up. Well, I hope everyone that watches this has enjoyed my first sort of full length video of a single target. I've never videoed myself doing this before, so see how it turns out. And I think, yeah, if the volume's okay and the picture quality is okay on the video, I'll just stick the out unedited just on my channel, and yeah, just leave it as is, raw and uncut, director's cut, full length version, and yeah, see if it's any interest to anyone at all. It's certainly the type of thing I like watching. Oh, sorry, I'm going to have to go to bed. I'm really struggling now. I can usually stay up to 3, 4, 5 in the morning, generally quite easily, but I'm not really losing out a night's sleep last night as well. It's been quite a stressful weekend. All in all, poor cat. But yeah. I think I might name the observatory the 5 Cats Observatory, although we've only got 4 now. We did have 5 at the time when I started the observatory, so yeah, I was half in my mind to call it the 5 Cats. Just off tangent there completely. Last image of the evening on this target. I'm really surprised I managed to do this. The way the clouds were looking not that long ago, I thought I might have to stop, but they just kept out of my line of sight enough. Guiding was a bit off here and there, but it seems to have settled back down again to a reasonable amount. Yeah, looking nice. Because at this point you think, oh, maybe I could just get another half an hour's worth of luminance and just start the sequence again, just get even more, because it's just never enough. What's 2 hours when you could get 20 hours, and then you could get narrowband filters as well, and it would be fantastic if I had enough clear skies to justify the time to do that. End up doing a full astro season just doing one target. I quite like to get a wee bit of variety of things, and I quite like to get galaxies in as well. But I'm really going to have to get, as I said earlier, a different guide camera for galaxy season when there's just so little stars about. There things. Right, nearly there, and then we can look for Jupiter. May as well just leave it all recording and we'll see what we can do. Let's have a look, see where Jupiter actually is. The southeast now, quite low, but I think I could still get it. Well, that was us done. Too bad at all. Right, I'll do an autofocus back to luminance filter. I'll do that, and then I've got a quick look at the sky when it's doing autofocus back to luminance, and focus. What was I going to say? And then I can switch to sharp cap and see if we're going to get Jupiter. Let's have a wee look at the sky first. Hello, Pete. Come on, Pete. Come on. Pete. Oh. For some reason, luminance isn't performing too well, which is weird because all the colours are coming up fine for an autofocus. close, but still. It's about the same as it was before, 0.96, or was it 0.95 it was down? It's this bit, there's definitely like backlash. I need to change a setting on that slightly. Yeah, 0.97, I mean it's not like horrendously bad. And we're back to 4998, I'm sure that's what it was at the start of the night, so it's taking it back to the original position. Which fair enough, it was right, let's look for Jupiter. Framing. I've selected it on Stellarium, so let's just get the targets from Stellarium, and then we can centre it in Nina, and then I shall go to Sharp Cap and have a look for it there. At least in Sharp Cap you can zoom in the screen and you can change just so many different things for planets. Success. Okay. Salute and centre. I better check for cable snags this time. Yeah, Jupiter was quite a way around there, so I had to just make sure the cables were out of the way. It might not centre it, it's going to be far too bright, isn't it? Yes, but it's pretty close. May as well just stop in the plate solve. Yep, it's no wonder it failed. Right. Back to framing. Stop that. That's fine. It's quite close as it is. Go to PhD, start guiding, looping, guiding. Right, let's disconnect the camera from here. Camera. That's what we need to do first. What I should have done earlier was start warming the camera up. Let's warm the camera first because we don't need it cooled. And I'm about to switch the camera off to change it to sharp cap, so we'll just, I should have done that ages ago. As soon as I finished the other sequence, I completely forgot. In the meantime, let's try and just turn the exposure right down on this. 0.05, say. just for a look. It's hell of a bright. It's a little bit off centre. It's not far away. We'll just keep PhD keeping it on track the now if we can. It's not showing much stars, it's so bright around about Jupiter. But yeah, you just can't. Once the camera's warmed up, we'll switch it over. Let's have a look at stellarium now. You can see the moons quite clearly. Those three you can see there's 1, 2, 3. We've got Callisto, Europa, and God, what's the name of that one? Io, and then we've got Ganymede, and let's zoom out so you can see them quite clear. It's a star. I don't know how you pronounce it. A-R-I, Ari. Don't know if that's right pronunciation or not. So we've got a star, we've got Ganymede, Callisto, Europa, and Io. Yeah, I'm going to save that image. It's not a very good picture, but it's is what it is. So bright. I mean that's, I mean I've typed in 0.005, but how low an exposure this camera can do, I've really no idea. I've only ever used it for deep sky, for long exposure, not super short exposures of bright things. But the camera's 60% warmed, we're not far away. I know Saturn's in the sky as well, but I think it's a bit low. If I remember right. Yeah, it's quite low. It's like 18 degrees. It's going to be below the hills when I'm looking south. It's just went over the meridian. We'll keep it on Jupiter now, and once the camera warms up, so we'll switch to sharp cap. We're not far away. In the meantime, I'm just looking around. there's not an awful lot of sort of nebula, other nebula round about in the southern sky now. There's a lot that are sort of in the northern sky that I just can't image. What have we got? So Uranus isn't far away as well. The Pleiades not far away. So Uranus, could always maybe try and get a single image of that as well. Once we've done Jupiter, it's pretty close to Jupiter. Not that it's going to really show up as much, but still, I don't think I've ever even tried to take a picture of that before. We're nearly done with the camera. 3 seconds, 2, 1. Right, we can disconnect the camera. Disconnect. Yes, okay. Sharp gap up. Once it comes on, it's taking a while. There's a lot running on this laptop, it's starting to get a little bit slow, I think. Which isn't a good sign. We're still guiding on Jupiter now. Just try and get a sharp cap to load. Just be patient. Why does it keep trying to load a new tab? soft edge. I don't want that. It was all working so well. For some reason we're not getting to load sharp gap. Don't know why. It's maybe just taking a while to load up. I might just stop recording now and then I'll mess about with shadow caps, try and get it to load, and I can always just start it again. And if it doesn't work, then we'll say good night and this will be the end of the video, because I was going to get packed up anyway. Oh no, here it comes. It's just taking its time. The laptop's done well tonight, it's had a lot running. I don't usually have OBS running with another webcam, so it's maybe just pushing it to its limit, to be honest. Oh dear. We'll give it another minute, see what happens. I can always edit this video down a little bit. It's starting to get a lot of dead air here. See if I've loaded up a few instances of sharp cap. Come on. Access. Now we're going really slow. That was. You know what, let's just close sharp gap. I feel like giving up for the night anyway. Come on. It was all going so well with Nina. Sharp caps, everything stopped responding, yes. Cameras. Let's see, we're still guiding. Come on, PhD2. Close this one. Right. I've actually got it on the screen, which is quite amazing. We're using the 294, good. What do I need to do? It's been so long since I've used this. Resolution. It's a little bit better, isn't it? Just try and get it more centered. Just taking forever doing that. Hey, zoom. get it centered. Don't know what that noise was. Come on. Why does the mouse keep moving? I'm really not used to sharp cap. But you know, I'm starting to get a little bit of detail. What's my gain at? It's really hard to try and get anything. It seems to have frozen somewhat. Right. Well, you can see two lines. I'm just messing about between the gain and the exposure. Why are we not getting any zoom? Styles already here. I don't really know histogram. It keeps stalling the camera. It's not working too well, is it? I think we're going to have to shut down, not responding. That's a shame. Do you know what? I just have to close sharp cap, and yeah, maybe the frame rate's just too fast for this laptop. Oh, I'm not even saving anything though. I shouldn't be. Let's just close the program. Go back to Nina. Camera. Oh, now nothing's responding. Come on. I think we're still recording here. We seem to be back to Nina. Let's go back to Nina. Camera. Connect to camera. Well, that was less than successful. I think it may be time to just pack up for the night. The laptop seems to be stalling somewhat. If I end up breaking the computer altogether. Lots of error messages in PhD 2 now. Stop the camera there now. Right, I think we shall pack up for the night because nothing's. Oh, it's all going well too. Right. Let's see. Switch Nina off. I'll leave you with the image of the Western Veil Nebula that I took last week. And yes, I'll say goodbye. I'm just going to switch everything off now since the laptop seems to be freezing up. It's done well so far, but see, it is quite old technology now. Well, thanks for watching, and shall see you again from Sutherland skies. So, clear skies everyone. Bye for now. Bye.